Today's Tanya is the end of chapter 4. And in yesterday's Tanya, we discussed how ultimately our connection to Hashem, our connection to God, comes through studying Torah and doing mitzvahs. And that's how we connect ourselves, the entirety of ourselves to God. And that can only be done down here in this world through actually studying Torah here in this world and doing physical mitzvahs over here in this world. With this, the Alter Rebbe is going to explain something interesting. There is a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, in Ethics of Our Fathers, where the Mishnah says there are two clauses in a Mishnah and they seem to contradict each other. One clause says that 1 hour of pleasure in the world to come is greater than the entirety of this world. And then the Mishnah says, and 1 hour of mitzvahs over here in this world is greater than the entire world to come. So which is it? Which one is the greater one? And the way the Alter Rebbe explains it is, the pleasure in the next world is infinitely greater than the pleasure we have over here in this world. This world is a difficult world. In this world we have challenges, we have difficulties. And even forget about the challenges and the difficulties. The pleasure that we can experience here in this world is a limited amount of pleasure because we are limited beings. Our receptors for our antenna for pleasure is not the same because we are in physical bodies. In the world to come, the pleasure is unimaginable. However, at the same time, what is the pleasure in the world to come? The pleasure in the world to come is that we bask in the radiance of the divine presence. To put it in different words, it is the pleasure of intimacy. Even here in this world, the greatest pleasure possible is the pleasure of closeness, the pleasure of intimacy. Gan Eden, the world to come, is where we enjoy our intimacy with God. And that is an incredible pleasure. However, ultimately, we are being intimate with and we are basking in the ray of the divine presence. When we do a mitzvah over here in this world, it's not basking in the ray of the divine presence. It's connecting to the essence of God himself. And therefore, in that sense, 1 hour in this world, with all the difficulty and all the suffering here in this world and all the challenges that come along with being here in this world, is greater than the entire world to come. And this explains why the Mishnah tells us that when the neshama comes down here into this world, the soul comes down here into the world, it's reluctant to come down here into this world. Why? Because the soul is in Gan Eden, experiencing tremendous pleasures, and it's reluctant to come down here in a world which is filled with pain and difficulty and challenges. But at the same time, when the neshama is down here, it doesn't want to go back up because the soul recognizes that ultimately, in terms of connecting with the essence of God, that is down here specifically through Torah and mitzvahs. So with this, we kind of wrapped up. We started, the last few chapters already, we're talking about the godly soul. Chapter 2, we spoke about the substance of the godly soul. The substance of the godly soul is godliness. Chapter 3, we spoke about the core components of the godly soul, which is its intellect and its emotions. And chapter 4, which we just concluded, we spoke about the garments or the expressions of the godly soul. And now we understand the greatness of the expressions, of the garments, of the thought, speech, and action, understanding that the only way the soul can connect to God is only through these expressions, through the garments, through thought, speech, and action of Torah and mitzvahs. Tomorrow we will start chapter 5, and we will find out that in the agenda of the godly soul, which is to connect to God through Torah and mitzvahs, there's actually something very special about studying Torah, and that has an advantage even over all other mitzvahs.